Thank you for coming this evening. My name is Margaret Perry, and I'm the current RA Board Director representing the Hunters Woods Dogwood District, our community. Hola, buenas noches. Mi español es limitado. Maurice, Juan, ayuda español.
Con español.
Sí. Thank you. Gracias. Got the hard part really out of the way. I just want to make note that with us tonight are our board treasurer and Lake Ann Paulo District Director, Erwin Flashman. He also habla español. Sí, habla español. And our at-large director, John Farrell, is also here with us this evening.
Un poquito de más.
We are also happy to have our CEO, Matt Cummins, and our COO, Larry Butler, with us this evening. Thank you all for joining us. From our amazing staff, we welcome Brittany Copeland, Chris Shoemaker, Cam Adams, Sean Barani, Sean Duckett. Where's Sean?
He's parking.
Okay. Mike Leone, Juan Hernandez, and Maurice Guerra. Oh, and Jennifer Jashashak, also our Vice President and South Lakes District Director, has come. So thank you for joining us this evening. And our Board President and At-Large Director, Sarah, and I'm going to apologize to begin with, but definitely just Susan. Yes? Close? Okay. This is the first of 6-member listening sessions that the RA Board will conduct over the next 4 weeks. In-person sessions will be held at each of the 4 districts, this being the first one, Hunters Woods Dogwood. And RA's at-large directors will host both a virtual and an in-person listening session later this month, beginning of next month. Members are welcome to attend all sessions regardless of which district you live in, so please feel free to participate at any of them. You can find all of them on the events page at the RA website. During the COVID-19 pandemic, our member listening sessions were virtual, so we are excited to be back in the community hosting in-person sessions again. Our agenda this evening is primarily about us listening to you. We want to hear your comments and feedback. We will briefly share some information and updates and then head into the member comment period for the majority of this meeting. Before we start, I want to review a few guidelines to better facilitate tonight's meeting and keep it running smoothly. If you would like to speak, please raise your hand. You can ask questions as we move through tonight's session or wait until we get into the formal comment and question period. The choice is yours. I will do my best to recognize everyone in the order that they raise their hand. I promise everyone will get an opportunity to speak, and staff will assist me with making sure that we call on everyone. If you prefer to submit your question in writing rather than speak publicly, we do have comment forms in the back of the room available for your use. For time consideration and to ensure all members have an opportunity to speak, please limit your comment or question to no more than 3 minutes. If you have additional comments or questions, please hold them until others have had an opportunity to speak. And of course, you can also submit additional questions or comments on the comment cards. I love that there are so many of you here. I wish we had more, so I anticipate you all will get to provide whatever feedback you'd like. It is election season at RA, and we are excited to have so many wonderful members running for open seats on the RA Board of Directors. Voting opens March 1st and ends March 30th. All RA members, whether they are a property owner or a renter, are encouraged to vote in the election. We do have a couple candidates here this evening, and I invite them to take no more than 3 minutes to introduce yourselves and provide a statement. Please raise your hand and we'll call on you in order. Any? No? Okay, go ahead. Trevor?
Hi everyone, my name is Trevor Grawatch. I'm going to be running for the 2-year at-large seat. I do live in the South Lakes District and have grown up in this area pretty much, well, most of my life. I was actually born to a home that was just behind the Foxmall Shopping Center. Technically Herndon, but all of my friends mixed and intermingled between the Herndon and Reston fields, parks, little leagues, played for the Reston Raiders growing up in ice hockey, so really came to love and just cherish this place. And now that I have a family and have been able to move back in the area after college and professional life, and it's been great to be able to kind of solidify my roots here, and just looking for a way to give back more than anything else. Finding that this one of the best opportunities to make a mark and keep a lasting impression in Reston, and try to provide for the next generation for a place that's done so much for me. So thanks everyone.
John?
Well, Margaret, I want to defer to you because we're running against each other. Complete mess as far as not knowing who's running for what. But I'm John Farrell. I currently serve on the board as an at-large member. I was appointed last May. We've accomplished a lot in 8 months. We're going to reopen the Shadowwood pool, and we're going to heat it, and we're going to make lap lanes, and so that's a real accomplishment for the board. And we've got a great, highly skilled, highly professional CEO on board, and we're preparing. In fact, I was talking with Mr. Butler this afternoon. We're preparing our comments for the Reston Master Plan Task Force to try and make sure that the master plan that gets adopted accurately reflects everything that our Reston Association does for the community here. So we've accomplished a lot. We've got a lot more to go, and I look forward to your vote and to continue to serve on the board. And thank you for your time. You've been very gracious, Margaret. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, candidates. As John noted, I am running for the 3-year at-large seat, and I would be happy to speak with any of you about my candidacy, either at the end of tonight's meeting or at a time that's convenient for you. As RA members, I hope that you will take the time to learn more about each candidate and give them all your consideration, and that beginning March 1st, you will vote. Candidates are welcome to stay this evening, and if you have flyers or handouts, please consider passing them out at the end of the evening. Now on to our brief information and update section of the evening. I have asked staff to attend to assist in sharing some information that I believe is valuable to the Hunters Woods Dogwood community. These topics include capital projects in our district, how RA's Covenants team can serve as a resource for you, and how RA's Member Services team is also a valuable resource. First up is Chris Shoemaker, RA's Director of Capital Projects, with updates for our district. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, I'm Chris Shoemaker, Director of Capital Projects. My department oversees all the major capital investments of the association. So that means, and it varies depending on different agencies you may talk to, anything over $5,000 and a 3-year life expectancy. So now as inflation, that could be a water fountain, because they're getting crazy expensive, to the full-fledged renovation of a pool, such as Lake Throw. So it's kind of everything in between. I'm one of 3 people in the department. We oversee somewhere between 60 and 70 projects a year. They all vary greatly in value and complexity, as you can imagine. So last year in the Hunters Woods Dogwood District, we were around $350,000 in budgeted capital improvements. So that included a lot of work at Glade, and you may see there's still work ongoing at Glade right now. We did some flooring coat replacements, we're doing some cabinetry work on the interior, but on the exterior you might have been seeing, we're repairing the spot jet systems, which I know was a big issue for many years over there. We finally figured out a solution to it, so we're going to have that up and running in time for the opening swim season. Hunters Ball Field redevelopment, another big project I know has a lot of interest in it. So we are getting ever so close to getting the site plan approved with the county. It has been a saga to say the least, but I'm happy I actually had one of my guys go to the county and drop off the final check in person and demanded a receipt before he left, just to make sure it got cleared. So I hope to have that cleared very, very soon, and as soon as we get that done, I can then officially send out the RFP to the contractors who already identified. They've already seen some of the plans already, the unapproved set, to kind of get an idea to start getting their wheels turning so they can turn around the RFP rather quickly. As soon as I have that going and we can get mobilized on the site, we're going to rock through that project as fast as we can. So I hope to get that done, way before we get even close to the end of the year. I think it's probably only take maybe 3 to 4 months of construction once we hit the ground. So that's one project I'm excited to finally get underway. We also have the butterfly overlook deck. I know that's, another favorite project. I actually met with the third and final bidder just last week. I'm still waiting his bid back. As soon as I get that cleared, I'll be able to get that under contract, and I want to get that done before the growing season, obviously, so we can then welcome the butterflies to their new observation point for everyone to see. Another big project scheduled for this year, and as I'll say, actually for this year, we have $1.7 million in budgeted work. Why that number is so big is because of the Glade tennis renovation. So that facility is one of 2 clay courts we have in Reston, the other one's in North Hills. That one was renovated in 2019. So this project is going to be very much like the North Hills renovation. We're going to be digging up the court, fixing all of the subsurface irrigation systems. You might remember, I think it was like 2017, 2018, a massive group of trees came down and landed on that court. Well, that unfortunately had the effect of taking branches and piercing through the court. That system is designed to basically act like a bathtub, where it holds water from underneath and hydrates the clay above it. So you can imagine punching a bunch of holes in that liner doesn't do any favors for operating that facility. So with this renovation, we're going to fix that problem and hopefully have that operational and good to go for another 30, 40 years. We'll also be doing lighting, which I know is kind of an ongoing irritation at that facility. I know it's also 30 years old and antiquated. So the new system we're putting in is exactly what we just did at Hook Road Tennis, if you've ever seen it. It's Dark Sky Initiative certified. It's LED, high efficiency. It runs about half the wattage that the existing system runs on, and it has full remote capabilities. So I can monitor it remotely. I can adjust courts on an individual light basis. So instead of turning on the whole facility when you want to play, you can turn on just individual courts. And they're also run by timing systems, which are far more sophisticated than we have now. Right now, you turn an egg timer, and it just runs, no matter what, and it runs the whole site. This one will run each court individually on separate timers, and they'll have the ability to turn off within a set period of time versus just staying on until the master timer shuts it off. So it should eliminate or help alleviate some of the nuisance lighting that we've had over there. And because of its proximity to the houses, which that tennis court is the closest to any residential development in Reston. So it's like 30, 40 feet from someone's property line. These lights will have a far better cutoff, so the light is forward, it doesn't have any nuisance or backlighting, unlike the old lights have. And we're going to try to play with the pole heights as much as we can to avoid sightline issues. And they'll have full house side shielding on as well to help further push that light forward and not into the houses. So I think it'll be a great improvement for that facility. I know there's a couple other things you want to mention about the...
Yeah, Larry, can you just mention quickly about the artwork underneath the...
underpass.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah, so many of you are probably aware that the panels on the Coast Neck underpass came down. VDOT had to inspect the concrete. They are not big fans of the, 1,500 little screw holes that we used to put it in. So we are, with the CSF staff, Central Services Facility, are working on developing a stainless steel track system, because those are panels that were fabricated. So we want to be able to slide them in and out, because every 3 years, VDOT's going to have to get back in and do that inspection. And they'd rather not have, 1,500 more penetrations into the concrete, but having a rail system on the top and the bottom, they think that would work. So we're actually designing that right now. We have to find somebody to manufacture it. So hopefully that will come along pretty quick. But again, we have to take that design back to VDOT. And those of you who have ever worked with VDOT, we're going to try to push them.
Is a misnomer.
So we'll try to get that going. But that's the status of that right now.
So are there any questions now or later?
If anyone has questions for Chris, he's happy to answer anything. Is there any projects or any concerns?
I don't know if this is for you. I'll ask it now and somebody else can answer it later if you're not the person. I would like to see more area dedicated to the gardens here in Reston. We have an area over here and the waiting list is, I've checked a couple of times, and just very, very long. And I think there's just so much interest in Reston, even more now, about gardening. And if we could double or triple or quadruple what we have, I think they would fill up. It's a mental health thing for gardening. It's something we all enjoy, having local fruits and vegetables, just a lot of reasons why, for the community, I think we should expand on that. Again, I don't know if that's a capital improvement or what, but I mean,
I'm just gonna make note of it here. Someone else I'm sure is also making note, but that way we can.
Yeah, it's something we can definitely, look into. I'm sure as part of the budget development for 24, 25, member suggestions, and that'd be, one we'll throw in there as an idea. And we'll just have to kind of evaluate where we're going to put it. For the most part, a lot of the garden plots are placed on the main gas line that serves Reston. It's kind of a perfect opportunity to use those spaces. We can see if there's any other ones that perhaps are not being used that we could stick one in right now. But yeah, really the main capital investment on one of those is really the fencing that goes around it. So that's really the biggest part of that, just finding out the where and then just the funding for that.
well, I think the one down by the Reston, the veterinary place in the pool.
Yeah, there's two of them over there.
Yeah, it seems like there's plenty of room down there to,
So
Instead of grass.
there are also soccer fields there that are utilized. So I'm sure we'll definitely have someone look into
I
what
think
space
these
may
are-
be
Yeah,
available.
this just looks like mowed area, not soccer fields, but.
I promise you, as someone who worked with Reston Soccer and Great Falls Reston Soccer, it is, soccer space is very limited in Reston, and that is used. And unfortunately for soccer aficionados, it is actually one of the best soccer fields in South Reston. Sad to say. Yeah, very sad to say.
First, Julie Darty, I want to thank you for all your work. 29 action items, getting those done, that wasn't easy. So we are anxiously awaiting.
Yep, and I'll be talking to you pretty soon about that access agreement as well. So let me go on.
Absolutely.
So as part of that project, we actually have to get entrance through their cluster to get down to the site, which is kind of reiterates the problem with that location is that it's hard to get to. So we're actually going to have to stage construction entrance kind of right there in that corner. So, when the time comes, I truly appreciate everyone's understanding and it'll be over soon, but it's definitely going to get a little bit worse before it gets better, unfortunately. But it's all for the better.
We've been waiting 8 years.
Any other questions for Chris at this time? And you can feel free to ask Ian later. Go ahead.
I don't know if this is exactly the right one to pose to you, but I'm just, one curiosity I've had for a while is the amount that tennis courts and pools are used. I've played a lot of tennis and have interest in that, but I've also noticed they're not as used as much as they were, say, back in the day. As far as a capital improvement standpoint, do you have some sense what the plans are for the total head count in each of those categories? Or am I getting too far out of?
In terms of the actual usage and programming, that's probably more for our Parks and Rec, Laura Kowalski, maybe Larry can answer, but that might be, I don't know how familiar he is with the specifics on that one. But I know we've been trying to do, the problem with tennis courts in terms of actually counting usage, because they're not manned at the gate. Unlike pools, which we actually have someone checking in, and we can record exactly who and when. Tennis courts are a bit more complicated, because all you do is just roaming checks. There's no one there to actually physically say, okay, you came in. So we tried putting in these gate checks, or the counters, to kind of see that. And I'm not sure where the data is with that just yet.
As much as it hurts me to say it, I just think we may be at the juncture where we have more than necessarily is needed, and from a capital improvement standpoint, that's something that has to get, periodically worked on, so that's why I asked you.
Yeah, we'll also be, I think, talking about the survey as well that we'll be kicking off this year, which will also help shed some light on some of that detail as well. And it may give some, guidance on what we should do about it.
And just I'll throw out there Maurice, if you have any thoughts on this, but we are also aware that pickleball has picked up a lot in our area. And so we have a demand from both sides, right? We have a demand from people who absolutely love tennis, that it remain tennis courts. We have a demand from the pickleball players that we add more pickleball courts. We're trying to navigate what that really looks like as a whole for all of Reston, but there are guidelines there too. So for example, the Glade tennis courts that he was mentioning are getting the renovations this year, which are used quite often. I know lots of people out there. But those courts would not ever necessarily be considered for pickleball because of their proximity to the houses.
Okay, well, maybe we're right-sized then. With the-
Well, it's definitely something that, we'll take into consideration. And as Chris mentioned, we do have a member survey that we'll be putting forth this spring. So we're still working on all of the details with that. But when that comes out, we'll be asking all members to participate. And part of that is just trying to see what are the needs and wants of the community
Well, thank you
too.
to both of you for all your hard work.
Absolutely.
So you guys, if you have any questions, follow-ups, you think of something later, contact me at capitalprojects@reston.org. And that goes to me and my entire team. We'll get back to you as soon as we can with a response.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay. So please help me welcome Cam Adams. He's RA's Director of Covenants Administration, and he's going to share with you information about his team can be a resource to you when you have property questions, whether you're an owner or a renter.
Good evening. Good evening. There we go. The teacher's coming out of me. I'm Cam Adams. I'm the Director of Covenants Administration here. I've been here since June of 2020, but who's counting? I joined at the height of the pandemic, and that was an experience. So Reston Association is great. I have a copy of what I'm going to tell you today at the table. I have contact information at the table, and I even have your favorite thing ever, a DRB application. So quickly, because I know everyone probably has better things to do, like eat dinner, I'm sure, unless you ate dinner before. But I wanted to go over, my department has about 20 full-time employees. That's a lot of employees. But if you didn't know, there's 156 different condo and cluster associations in Reston, which is about 20,000 homes. It's spread across that team. So we're separated into 3 different departments. Those departments include community standards, community outreach, and community compliance. The big takeaway here is that each of those departments has a manager that is responsible for managing that team, and their contact information is in here too, including mine. So if you need anything related to community standards, which is your design review process, if you go to the DRB, if you wanted to find out what the design guidelines were, the community outreach, each community has its own advisor. So you have someone dedicated to answer questions related to anything related to design guidelines, a complaint, anything related to the rules of the organization, use and maintenance standards, the whole bit. There's a team that's responsible for helping you and assisting you through navigating that process. The design review board application is pretty robust. It's about a 9-page application. The first 3 pages is simply a checklist to ensure that you have everything that you need on the application. But large in part, contact your covenants advisor. They will help you through the process. When in doubt, fill an application out. It is always helpful to have something to substantiate that you've gone through the process, you've gotten approval, even if you thought that you didn't need to go through the process. There are 5 review levels for applications. So there's a no application, which is, I'm sure, your favorite part of the process. There's a staff review level, there's a consultation level, there's a panel level, and then there's a full board. We try to mitigate going to full board at all points possible. It is definitely something that a lot of members experience in terms of what's the application turnaround time. But last year we processed about 2,100 applications, and 95% of those applications were approved. So the process works. You just bear with us, have patience with us. There is a little bit of a turnover in the department. As you can imagine, you're the one that's telling people that their house color is not the right color. They're going through the resale process, and it's a most probably stressful time of your life, selling a home, buying a new home. And so those are the things that we do in that department. A lot of people don't know that Covenant staff does not do proactive inspections. So we're not out in your neighborhoods inspecting, telling you what's wrong or what's right, although I would like to tell you what's right more than what's wrong. We only inspect for 4 different reasons. We inspect because there's a resale inspection, so someone's selling their house. We've received a complaint from a member. RA members include tenants and homeowners, so if you are a tenant, you can also file a complaint to Reston Association. If you live in an apartment complex, for example, that's something that has a resource that's available to you. A cluster walkthrough, which means the cluster board has requested us to walk through. and then the post-design review board process, which essentially is us coming back to ensure that the modifications comply with the DRB decision. If one of those 4 things doesn't happen, we are not in your neighborhoods. Unless you invite us, which we've had before. We've been doing show and tells with clusters, and I have to talk to you about some waste management things. So that's the fun part. We love to be out in the community. You often see me. You may see me in some videos from time to time, which I find to be the most fun part about my job. But those are the types of things that we are out and about for. Resales. That is the #1 thing that we do in covenants. It is our kind of bread and butter. We add about $300,000 to the association's budget in non-assessment revenue, which is pretty extreme. But with that comes the process of members ordering disclosure packages that they are required to provide to the buyer of their properties. We don't expedite. Those things take 14 days to process. We have a platform that you go through to order that disclosure. But the largest takeaway is that if you belong to a cluster or condo association, you have 2 disclosures that you need to order. If you're in a single family detached, you don't need to order but 1 from resident association. So that's the caveat there. Resources. There's some really cool QR codes in my little packet that you can scan. One will take you to the property owner's resource tab, which is dedicated to covenants things. It has everything that you could possibly imagine there. It's on the website, even though our current website's a little temporary. All the documents are there for you and are a resource to you all as well. And then also, we've been doing a little bit more outreach thanks to Mike and his team, Sean, the guy who does all of the videos, about covenants frequently asked questions. Anything that has come up in our show and tells with cluster leaders, we're talking about in those videos. And I'd love to do more in the coming soon future. But the last one that we did was actually about electric vehicle charging stations. So that's also something that is continuing to be a conversation within communities of RA, and of course the Charge Up Fairfax program as well. The last slide is really, really important. It is the manager's contact information. So if you are having a problem getting a hold of someone in the covenants department, that is who you can reach out to. We are a resource to you. One of the things I always tell my team is we can't control the rules, but we can most certainly control the customer service. So if there's an issue or there's a problem, there's a concern, positive concern too, we love to hear those, and I'd love to hear them. I will have my cards at the back if anyone wants to take it. I'd love to hear from you. I hear from several of you already, but I'd love to continue that. And if you have any questions, just let me know.
Everyone right now about lights and Dominion Energy.
Yes.
We have had lights that are out over 10 months, and we get nowhere, and then more lights go out. And they are ones that they've owned since day 1 in 1972. So it's pretty damn dark in our development because of all the trees. And we have 5 pole lights out, 15 out right now.
Gotcha. So Dominion does have a service, it's a website that you can report lights out. It doesn't work.
We've been doing it for 10 months.
It doesn't work, it's not quick. They say that it is, but it's not. So what I would suggest is that you reach out to Megan. She is the community outreach manager. She has a really good relationship with several people in the HOA division for Dominion, and I think that that would be helpful to you.
Okay. I mean, we try to play by their rules, but it's getting, it's dark and it's cold and it's not safe.
Right, yeah. Any other questions?
No, this event isn't for me to ask random questions, but you brought something up. Can you, in a nutshell, tell me what the view is on electric vehicles and charging, as well as electric or solar roofs?
Okay, so solar roofs are really good. I think we've already kind of gone through the process of having a design guideline established for solar panels. Most certainly the DRB encourages solar panels whenever possible. It gets a little dicey when you're living in a cluster and there's specific roof types that you have to adhere to. But just like EVCS, electric vehicle charging stations, there's a law that protects the access to solar panels as well as electric vehicle charging stations. So almost every single application I have seen since I've been here has been approved for solar panels. It gets a little bit trickier when you look at the tiles. So Tesla came out with a tile that's a shingle. We have had one of those. They were in single family homes, but the market is changing. Things are being readily available, products are changing, and solar panels are a big thing now. And we are having clusters actually establish cluster standards related to solar panels. In terms of electric vehicle charging stations, that's a little bit more tricky. The Charge Up Fairfax program right now is directly promoting charging from home and what that looks like, and most cluster associations don't have a townhome or a garage or a driveway. Multifamily doesn't have that access, and so they're trying to promote charging from home by having that program here. And we actually are one of the first associations in the entire country to have a design guideline dedicated to electric vehicle charging stations. So that went through its entire process, and the DRB does review them. They do approve them. Most of them are on cluster common area, but they are installed for the exclusive use of one homeowner. Some clusters don't like that, some clusters do. It just depends on your association. But if you are in a single family home or you have access to the charger that doesn't cross common area, it's a pretty simple application process. But the DRB generally will approve them. So that's kind of the standpoint where we are right now with electric vehicles.
Okay, so for solar panels, Ruth, step one is to get your cluster to get their act together as far as standards, then come to you all.
You don't need standards to do solar panels. You can go straight to the design review board.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Excellent, that was on my list to talk to Cam at some point anyway, so that's great, thank you. Thank you, Cam. So just, if you're not familiar with our member services team, they are located at RA headquarters on Sunrise Valley Drive and are available to assist you with general information about Ruston and all the activities, events, programs, services, anything you can think of, they pretty much can assist you with. They are available Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5 p.m. and offer extended hours at certain peak times during the year, including later this month before the 2023 annual assessment payment deadline. Just FYI as a reminder.
You can't vote if it's not paid. Paid before March 1st.
We do have maps available on the table in the back of the room for those of you who may be unfamiliar with where RA headquarters is located. For some of you that may sound like, oh my gosh, of course people know where it is. However, I did attend a National Night Out event here earlier this year, or I guess last year, and I did have people who had no idea where RA headquarters was. So we want to make sure that anyone who needs it, we do have that map available. It'll take you right from this building to RA headquarters using sidewalks, because that's safer than cutting through parking lots. Member services is your go-to team for all programs, activities, pool, tennis court passes, lessons for swimming, tennis, pickleball, camp programs, rental of RA community buildings and picnic pavilions, and they are here to provide member support and help you take full advantage of your RA membership. On that note, please welcome Maurice Guerra, RA's Member Services Manager, who will provide an overview of all the activities and services.
Good evening. Happy to be here, actually. So, first time being out of the building, I feel like. Usually in there. But this is the map she's talking about. It's right over there on the desk. We're really close to this location. I actually have passed this building many a times and wanted to go play at these basketball courts, so maybe one day. But I really want to come up here and talk about the stuff not only that member services can help you sign up for, but the programs that we're offering as an association. So one of the big things that we've opened up is our camps. This is in the activities guide. We have copies of that. Okay. And these are all the camps that we're offering through our camp program this year. We're helping many age groups, many different type of camps that are out there. I know my daughter, she actually likes the skateboard camp. She's really excited for that one this year. And a big thing that we wanted to mention about it is that we're also offering scholarships for those camps. So if if the kid, we're offering to all youth that are in the community. So if a kid is otherwise not going to be able to take advantage of a camp because of situation at home, please get them to us. We have applications here in English and in Spanish, and we will help them through that process. I talked to a lot of people last year. They might not even speak English. Myself and Juan can help them right at the front desk get their kid into camp, because we want to make sure every kid has a great summer And I'll tell you from a personal experience growing up, that benefited me because I was part of a similar program, and camps are the greatest, I tell you that. So other things that we're offering through our camps, or through our Parks and Rec programs, are aquatic swimming lessons. We have tennis lessons. Those are also available to the youth as well through the scholarship program. So each kid can take two, I believe it's 2 classes, or 2, if they want to play pickleball, if they want to learn how to play tennis, they can do it through the scholarship program. Some other things that our Parks and Rec team is going for this winter and into the spring are some of the events that are coming up. So we do have some events coming up at the Nature Center. You can find it here in the activity guide. But there's a bird watch, I think it's on March 9th. Here, I have it on my phone, let me pull it real quick. Okay, so yes, the bird walk is on February 26th at the Walker Nature Center. February 22nd is a 55+ event called Tea and Painting at the Lake House. That's going to be a fun one, I think. And then there's a free movie. It's an environmental film called Head Water Down that is going to be at our Nature Center in the multipurpose room. March 3rd is a STEAM workshop. It's Susian Science, and that's when the kids are going to be out of school. March 27th is a trip to Capitol One Hall in Tysons to see a tribute to Queen. That sounds really fun. And one of the biggest community events that we have here, I think, is Community Yard Sale. That's April 29th. I get excited every time because I love yard sales, and it's one of the biggest in the area. So some other things that we are able to help offer at Member Services is just signing up with pool passes, as Margaret mentioned. So if you, first time being interested, if you don't know how it works, come up. We're happy to talk to you about all the things that pass will help you with. Not only get you into which pools you find the best. I know kids love Upland Pool. Glade has a slide. If you just want to swim laps, we can recommend some, like I think North Hills is a little bit slower, or a little bit quieter for that kind of thing. So we'll be happy to help you with that. If you're not sure where the tennis courts are, we have maps that are available there. We give them to, we get a lot of requests for trail maps too, and we have those right at the front desk. All this is also available on the website, which the communications team has done a great job making sure that those things are available there, easy to download. But Member Services, I like to make sure like we are the go-to point for the association. Any questions, always come to us, whether it's covenants, whether it's Parks and Rec, whether it's aquatics. We need to have the answers, and I want to make sure that my team and ensure that we are able to help guide any member through that, because we are really working for the members that are here in the community. And my job, my sole goal is to make sure that we're supporting that and making sure that they get the experience they need when they come in, that they leave better because they came in to the Member Services team. So please visit us there. We're happy to help anyone. My office is there. I'm happy to, have a chat even. I pull people in just to talk about what's going on in their day. So please come by and, we'll be happy to help you at the Member Services there.
Hi, Maurice. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Melanie Marin. I'm actually everyone's school board representative on the Fairfax County School Board. I'm also a Ruston resident and RA member. My district is South Lake, so I'll keep that hat for another day. But today I'm here on behalf of the constituents that I represent in the Hunters Woods and Dogwood area. And I first want to thank RA for the tremendous partnerships with Fairfax County Public Schools, both for the Walker Education Center. You all were the power behind our middle school students being able to do what's called a meaningful watershed educational experience, or a MIWE. And that's when like the 7th graders get to walk from school, which is amazing, no transportation needed, other than their feet, walk down to the stream and conduct scientific experiments. And I volunteered, not the same day as my 7th grader, she wouldn't allow it, but I went the day before, and I volunteered, and you guys ran the show. And there's just no way that our schools could do that program without you, so thank you for doing that, and please continue to do that. The second thing is about the aquatics program. I don't know if the public knows, but last summer there was an incredible partnership with Terracet Elementary School, RA, and Friends of Reston to help 50 students who had never learned to swim learn to swim. And it happened because FCPS was able to provide transportation for those kiddos home, but RA provided, you gifted the lifeguards and the facilities, and Friends of Reston got bathing suits and towels and equipment and some snacks, and snacks. But it was an opportunity for children and families who had never culturally experienced going to the pools regularly to become comfortable with the pools, and really it opened my eyes to not only is it needed, but like it is a life-saving skill that I look around the lakes and I think of my own kids, and my stomach kind of drops when I go to some places and I'm like, I can't yet live on the beautiful lakeside places until my kids are older, but I think that really could fulfill the aspirations of RA in the strategic plan and other goals, and getting all of our kids here to learn to swim. I would love to be, so I'm aware that Terracet is going to help build that out next summer. There's already partnerships in place, so thank you, but I would love to see us help all of our children, especially now when we see rises in fentanyl use, and we know that our communities are struggling to keep the kids busy and active outside and healthy. So I'm here to partner, but just thank you for doing that, and I think we can really fulfill RA's mission for recreation and health if we can better use our pools and get more of our kids in them, because some of them have nothing to do.
Yeah.
And they could be there having a great old time with their friends.
Yeah, I'm firmly behind that. Actually, can't remember who I talked to at Dogwood. We have a program that Member Services mainly runs in coordination with groups like Cornerstone, but also Fairfax County Public Schools, to get free pool passes for underprivileged kids. So I talked specifically to someone at Dogwood because I know Dogwood is.
It's not, so apparently it's a little too far for our little ones. It's like
Yeah.
7/10 of a mile, so they're actually gonna need a bus to get from Dogwood Elementary to the Dogwood Pool.
Yeah.
But at Terracet is great because we're tight and there's so many pools. So
Right.
FCPS is helping with the transportation where we can, and this year some schools gonna actually be done differently and not in every elementary school. But yeah, I mean, let's figure it out and get more
Definitely.
kids learning to swim to be safe and healthy and happy.
Yeah.
You know,
I would love to see
so.
that. One thing I say,
What about
actually.
adults too?
Yeah.
I mean,
Sure.
No, I'm sure there are
Yeah.
adults that don't know how to swim. That'd be great.
Absolutely.
One thing I forgot to mention, I apologize. So my team also manages the facilities for RA. So whether you're having a birthday party, you're having a wedding, you're having a conference, you just want to hang out with your friends, we have facilities for all that. So we have a conference center, we have the lake house, which is more of a, I would say, a more fancy facility, but I've had all types of party there, all types of celebrations, I should say. And we also have the Glade Room, which is above our Glade Pool. That's great for kids' parties or just general get-togethers. And we have a number of pavilions, I feel like it's 8, that we can rent out throughout Reston. So our member services team can help with that. Pavilion rentals, all those rentals are on now. Pavilions open in April and close in October. So, those go really fast too. So if you want to have a party, a grill, call us tomorrow and we'll get your date set up. And as a member, you get a significant discount. I think it's almost $200 less than a non-member to rent a pavilion. So it's a great benefit of being part of the association. So definitely give us a call. Great.
Just to tag on to what he was saying, besides pavilions and the lake house, there's also the fire pit off
Oh,
of
yes.
Glade, which
Oh, yeah.
has been a big, we've done birthday parties there. And of course also Nature Center. You can rent, they not only have the inside you can rent, there's also a pavilion there that you can rent. So lots of options, so thank you so much. So now to the most important piece of the evening, the questions and comments session. As a reminder, RA staff will help me call on members in order as best we can, and they will assist me in responding to your questions. We ask that you limit your time to 3 minutes. However, I feel like you probably will get away with a little bit extra if you need to, and feel free to utilize the comment cards if needed. So, if anyone.
I have another question. So this time, on behalf of Hunters Woods families, and I was hopeful the PTA president was going to join, and she had a family thing come up. So Hunters Woods Elementary School on Colts Neck Road, there's more people that want to walk to school. And I've met with, Supervisor Alcorn's office, the state, VDOT, good friends at VDOT, and it's very hard to find a solution there with the way Colts Neck is. However, I went and walked with the PTA president last week, and there could be a trail that is a solution. And I don't have the map printed, but I do think that it's something that we could explore to get more kids and families to walk safely to school. So I don't need to go into the details now, but I have pictures, I have the map, and would love to know what we can do to expand that safe routes to school access.
Are you saying there's no sidewalks for part of it?
There's no, so
There's no-
Colesnick is very
Several of us here actually walked past Hunter's Woods Elementary
So-
School on.
But
on
But
the
it's
side-
down here towards Stirrup. So
yeah.
this stretch is very dangerous until you get to the recreation area, then there's a path. So we've got people, kids and adults walking like on the bike path on Colesnick Road, and we have a parent who has tracked with a speed camera how fast, and the speeds are up to 50 miles an hour. Now, the schools, yes, the school zone, the safe zone, that's too far from us, so I went and walked the trails, and there is, if this is a way, it's through a backyard, and we couldn't tell with the leaves, maybe there's already something tamped down, we don't know. But, and I don't know what the access is like from Stirrup Road. But from what I understand, it could be, and with the PTA president showing me how kids walk to school, this RA trail could be the solution. So, would love to follow up on that.
Melanie, can you send me that map?
I sure will. This is, yes, I will send you the thing. This is just like, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Ed.
Okay, give me 1 second, guys, I'm just trying to read you real quick. Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Well, I'm going to throw one out since there's the opportunity and you have reminded me of it, and some of you here will have heard this before. What can Rescue Reston do formally to get it moving, that we want to pay for some lines on the RA paths that go through golf courses? Rescue Reston wants to pay for it. We need Reston Association to, work with us. What is the actual procedure that we need to do to actually move it?
So I will defer to some of the people who are
Yes.
much more knowledgeable than I am. However, I will state, it has come up in a couple of committees in a couple of different places. It has been, that information has been shared with a number of committees and people. So Mac or Larry, I know that I have specifically pointed out that Rescue Reston is interested in paying for this. And there's been some pushback on what does that look like, how does it work, how is it upkept? Has there been any?
Oh, and can I just point out the urgency in that if you, and I can send the map, if you Google map, walking from like the Hunter's Woods, the RCC Hunter's Woods, I want to walk from there to the Wheeling Metro. It takes you under the tunnel at South Lakes, up onto the RA path, you partway through the golf course on the RA path, but then it doglegs right and takes you down the cart path, all the way, for quite a long way. And Google Maps, and I know of no way to correct Google Maps. So, and there have been golf course owner complaints about people walking, well, Google Maps is telling them to.
Larry?
So, I'll ask Sean. Sean, we've corrected Google Apps in the past, haven't we?
We can
Had
put,
some success?
I don't want to speak right into the microphone, but we can make recommendations. Google listens to us because of who we are. So we can definitely put a recommendation in. There's just the interaction with Google. There's no human contact. So it ends up being we put in the recommendation and then surprise. They don't even send us a notification. We have to go and check.
Just find out.
We did this to get folks through our parking lot to get to the RA headquarters because Google would drive folks to the curb at sunrise and then there was no entrance. So people would get frustrated having to circle around. So it took us a few tries at getting Google to listen to us, but we could try that.
Okay. Yeah, and then kind of the other piece, there are signs out there.
Oh, I know, but
And so, some of the staff concern we had, and also the multimodal transportation committee, is that the more signs you put, if people want to ignore the signs, they're going to ignore them, whether they're really nice signs.
we don't want to do signs.
You don't need to do a
We
stripe,
we
right?
want to do a stripe on the path.
I mean, it's,
You follow the stripe, it's, or blue, when you're hiking, the blazes on the trees.
Let's talk
Let's
further
try,
about that.
let's try. What the heck, let's try. So who do I follow up with?
Larry.
Good call.
Thank you, Larry.
I'm going to send you directly to Larry.
Excellent. I better act fast.
In case you don't know, Larry, our wonderful COO, is finally taking time to focus solely on his family and his loved ones as he is retiring later this year. So we have truly appreciated all the years he has dedicated to Reston Association and Reston as a whole. So he will be greatly missed. He has a lot of amazing knowledge that Mac, our CEO, is desperately trying to soak in before he takes that well-deserved retirement. So, thank you. Are there any other questions, concerns, thoughts? I just have a few notes before we wrap up this evening. As was mentioned earlier, summer is not far off, and RA is recruiting and hiring lifeguards and camp counselors for the summer season. So if you know of anyone looking for seasonal employment, please encourage them to visit careers.reston.org, or please visit our headquarters building, and member services will help you with an application. Summer camp registration is open. Recreation passes are for sale, so you can take advantage of RA's many pools, tennis, and pickleball courts, and come out and enjoy our wonderful amenities, which also include trails and lakes. And then please vote in RA's upcoming Board of Directors election. RA has 5 open seats on the board, and voting opens March 1 and runs through March 30th. All property owners and renters have a vote. In case you don't know, all races, including uncontested seats like the Hunterswood Dogwood District seat, which, just so you know, the gentleman who is running for that seat is sick this evening, which is why he is not here to introduce himself. And he is the reason that I felt comfortable running for an at-large, because I felt that he would do a good job representing you all. And I will, of course, continue to protect and care for and advocate for Hunterswood's Dogwood District, even as an at-large member, if I am so luckily chosen, as I know John Farrell would too, if he were chosen for a 3-year at-large seat. But all seats must receive at least a 10% quorum. What that means is that at least 10% of all members must vote for the vote to count. So yes, your vote does matter. If you want to meet and hear more from all of the candidates running for the RA board, please join us Monday, February 27th and Tuesday, February 28th for RA's candidate forums. They are scheduled to be virtual and will start at 7 p.m. on both nights. Please tune in to meet the candidates. More information will be available on the RA events calendar closer to the date. If you didn't stop by the informational tables at the back of the room when you came in this evening, please do so before leaving. There is a lot of useful information available for you to take home about RA's programs, services. There's candy, there's cookies, there's my business cards if you want to reach me, Cam's information, so definitely take a look. Also, if you don't know, RA offers a weekly digital newsletter delivered to your email every Friday morning. So please sign up so that you can know what is happening in our association and community. RA is also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, so feel free to follow us there too if you use any of those social platforms, unless you're a Gen Z who uses no social platforms. Members of our communications team are here tonight and can show you how to follow RA on social media or register for the newsletter. As I mentioned, you are more than welcome to contact me directly. You can email me at bodperry@reston.org or call me 703-679-8128. I'll be happy to repeat that if you want me to, but there are the business cards back there that has all that information. Thank you so much for your time and input this evening. RA wants to hear from you. I promise that I read every email and respond to every call I receive, If you don't get me, please leave a message. The board also appreciates you coming out and sharing your feedback and thoughts with us tonight and always. Thank you.
Margaret, do you want to give a quick plug for the ribbon cutting?
Yes, thank you. It was on my first page. I did, yeah. Okay, so tomorrow evening here at Kathy Hudgens Community Center at Southgate, there will be a ribbon cutting for their new Little Free Art Gallery from 5:30 to 6. And they invite everyone to stop by and check it out. They're going to have the kids in the after-school program doing some different arts and crafts projects, and it's just a new and exciting thing here to promote the arts in the area.
What time is it?
5:30 to 6 p.m. tomorrow night. So, on your way out to that Valentine's Day dinner with your loved one, or, grabbing that pizza because you don't want to deal with going out with your loved one, feel free to stop by.
Yeah, it's going to be, the kids are going to be celebrating both Valentine's Day and Black History Month. And Supervisor Alcorn will be here at 5:30, and Christine Hodgson, who's the former director here, will be coming back because she was very involved in implementing that whole thing with public art resting and RA. So yeah, 5:30 to 6. So then
Start your Valentine's Day off right. Thank you so much, and I'm here for a while if you have additional questions. Any of the staff will assist you with questions, and otherwise, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.